Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new show here in Entrepreneur Media. You are watching SITS, the English speaking or spoken language podcast that we have in Entrepreneur Media, where we focus on interviewing and knowing more about different actors of the entrepreneur ecosystem, like around the world, from Europe, from United States, Asia, every part of the world. Today we have a very special guest. She's the co-director of Bilbao Slush'd, and also she's the co-founder of Bayloop Ventures. We're going to be speaking with her about a lot of things and about the organization of the first Bilbao Slush'd. Let's go to the intro, and then we will start speaking with Elena Popovici. Okay, Elena Popovici, thank you so much for having us. This is SITS, the English speaking or spoken language podcast that we have in Entrepreneur Media. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for inviting me. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, first of all, we are doing this interview because in this past month of February, it happened, the first edition of the Bilbao Slush'd edition, and we want to speak about that. So first of all, what's inspired you to bring this event to the region, and what impact do you hope it had on the local startup ecosystem?
So the idea of bringing Slash to Bilbao was born from my experience in Finland, where I lived, studied, and worked for 5 years. There I got to know the Nordic startup ecosystem up close and saw how Slash transformed Helsinki into a global startup hub. When I returned together with my co-founder, David Cabezon, we saw the opportunity to connect Bilbao in the Basque Country and the ecosystem of Vizcaya with this model, creating an event that would serve as a bridge between the startup ecosystems of Southern and Northern Europe. I think that it wasn't an easy journey. It took us over 6 months of hard work to obtain the license and convince key stakeholders that Bilbao could become the host city for the first ever Slush'd in Spain. But we did it, and the result has been incredible. The impact on the ecosystem, of course, it is very challenging to already see the results, but we can see fruitful connections that we've had the opportunity to track already by getting quantitative and qualitative data from our customers, partners, sponsors, all kind of attendees, where first conversations are continuing after the event, talking about co-investment opportunities from, for example, from venture capital firms, or sales opportunities from startups with ecosystem players, right? So I don't know if you know that, but after Bilbao Slush'd, we had here on a national level 4 years from now, which is also a very, very important event in Spain. It is organized in Barcelona every March, and we saw already some collaborations that started at Bilbao Slush'd. So definitely we were able to put Vizcaya on the global entrepreneurial map even more than before. I think that Slush'd has a very strong presence, a strong brand, and it, of course, it is renowned as one of the best events for founders, for startups, and one of the biggest VC gatherings in the world. So definitely there has been a big impact on this nascent ecosystem.
And before getting into the details about how you obtain a license, if you need to accomplish several levels of, I don't know, maybe different things you have to accomplish before you having the license. Why the País Vasco? Why there? we know that in Vizcaya, especially, they have been they have been working for the past 15 years, maybe, and trying to gather investment into the País Vasco. But why bring Slash to Bilbao?
Mhm. Actually, we started with a problem. Basically, how our business relationship with my co-founder started is with his bachelor's thesis, where
Uh-huh.
he was comparing the entrepreneurial ecosystem in the Basque Country, because he's Basque,
Mm-hmm.
compared to the Nordics. And he was providing several recommendations on what we can learn from the Nordics. So
Oh, wow.
basically, this spin off is based on a paper. Once we had the problem, we started to find solutions, right? And one of the solutions was to understand how we can actually leverage this knowledge that we had already on the paper, right? And this analysis, and what will help us get there. So, how we can actually strengthen the brand of Vizcaya, and how also the government is putting a lot of effort and a lot of capital on attracting
Mm-hmm.
investment from outside, and also startups, international startups. So basically, when we reviewed the slash license, which can be given to any ecosystem, it can be given to Barcelona or Madrid or Valencia or Malaga, and then Bilbao, right?
Mm-hmm.
We thought that it could be an interesting opportunity for Bilbao, because Barcelona, Madrid, or Valencia, they are very developed already, right? There are many things going on, and they are very big. Barcelona itself is one of the best startup ecosystem in Southern Europe. So Bilbao is a little bit smaller, but at the same time, it is very similar to Estonia, right? It
Okay.
doesn't mean that it's not competent. It is very competent. So there are many opportunities to put effort on developing this ecosystem, right? So basically, in a couple of words to conclude, we found a sweet spot between the problem, the solution,
Mm.
opportunities, and also support from the institutions and from other partners and sponsors. So basically, we put them all together, and we found out that Bilbao could be a very interesting one. Basically, when we had a research before getting the license, we also saw that Slash has been expanding to other nascent ecosystems. For example, Bolzano in Italy, or Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, Mandal in Norway, right? So those are not like the top ones, but they
Mm-hmm.
are the nascent ones that have a lot of opportunities. And Slash is working as a catalyzer in this ecosystem, and this is what we actually are achieving.
Nice, very nice. You said that everything started from this thesis from your partner, Mr. Cabezon. And did you find any similarities between the País Vasco and the Nordics about how they are showing and how they are embracing innovation and entrepreneurship?
Yes, I can highlight two of them. For example, when Helsinki and Finland started this change to be in one of the most important startup hubs globally, they were focusing a lot of telecommunications. Nokia was a giant, right?
Uh-huh.
At the same time, in the Basque Country, the entrepreneurship has been in their blood over the history, but it was more industrial. Right now, the Basque Country is investing a lot in making the switch to being more technological, right?
Okay.
Then, believe it or not, the culture is very similar. They are also a little bit more shy and a little bit more close sometimes. But when you get to meet the culture and the people, it is easier to make friends. And
Okay.
in business, you can also apply this. And the weather is shit. So, for some reason, that was also something similar. But yeah, I think that the um, triple helix model can be applied in both ecosystems. So
Mm.
basically, the triple helix model consists of strengthening the connections between the academia, the government, and the
Okay.
private sector. And this works very well also in the Vizcaya ecosystem. And we leveraged this way of working and these contacts. And it was very easy for us to approach the institutions and to have a one-to-one conversation with them and explain how the project will work and what kind of benefits there are for such an ecosystem. And it was a journey, of course,
Mm.
because it's not easy, right, to talk with the government, but we pivoted all the time our
Mhm.
proposal, and at the end we got their support. They have been our gold partners, and thanks to the support of the Basque government through an agency called SPRI, also the Beas Vizcaya and the Bilbao City Council, we had the opportunity to bring it.
Very interesting what you say, like those similarities and how you can approach like these different sectors, like the government, the private sector, and all, of course, like the city and everything. Because I think it's quite different of what happens, at least in Latin America, from where I come from, which that you have to go through like very different levels of like connections and permits, etc. And speaking about that, I told it before, but you obtained these slash licenses for Bilbao. And what were the requirements? I ask because many people, they may know a slash, must probably not everybody know a slashed, which are the events that happens like in different other countries, as you say, in Bilbao, in Kuala Lumpur, in other places.
Mm.
So what do you need in order to be able to grab the license and bring the experience and the brand of Slash to another city, to another country?
Yes, I think that it is like when a startup goes to pitch to a venture capital firm, is the same. We had to demonstrate why this ecosystem, first of all, and why us, right? Because Slash is very important in entrepreneurship and innovation, and everyone wants the license. But how to get there? So,
Yeah.
what made stand us was the research that we had. It was a very extensive one. We took a lot of time, not only because of the paper, but also because we adapted our pitch to what Slash is. What benefited us is that I've been part of the Slash team in Helsinki for three
Okay.
occasions. I've been part of the meeting area, and also I've been part of the construction team. I've also led a team at the partnerships delegation demo booth. So of course I knew firsthand how Slash works and what do
Mhm.
they value, and I also knew the people. I know the
Okay.
CEO in person. I actually worked with her, and I also knew the expansion lead back then. So for me, it was a little bit easier to approach the
Mhm.
team to request more information and to get more insights on how to get them right.
Yeah.
So I've been also working in sales, and of course, I understand what I can say to convince people. But at the same time, I think that we were able to highlight what kind of bottlenecks we would work with such an event, because Slash
Yeah.
doesn't want to be just another event, because there are so
Yeah.
many out there. Why to expand such a brand to another ecosystem? So we showcased two bottlenecks. So the first one is born global startups.
Okay.
Usually in Spain, startups go international when they are from 3 to 5 years. When in Finland, for example, is from 1 to 3. So there is a lot to learn from this, because many times they stay very regional, and nowadays you need to be international from day one. You need to have a global reach to succeed. And then the other bottleneck was youth entrepreneurship. The median age of entrepreneurs in Spain is 41 years old. That's
Whoa.
crazy.
Yeah.
Compared to Finland, for example, you get to meet youngsters. They are 22 years old and they already have a company. It might
Yeah.
not be the
41,
most,
really?
yeah,
It sounds so old.
yes, and especially it's also male. So you can only
Oh,
imagine when people meet me. I'm 34 right now and I'm a woman. So it's like, I'm like a unicorn.
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, so we wanted to also work on this bottleneck. And how did we do it? We partner up with the Deusto Business School. It's one of the best business schools in Spain and also
Uh-huh.
globally. So basically, we onboarded the students from an entrepreneurship master, and we worked with them to first get some hands to help us with the event, which is non-profit and it's volunteer based. And
Yeah.
then the other side was to give them opportunities to network with investors, with startups, with corporates, institutions, media. All of those you need when you want to check the job market. It might be to become an entrepreneur, it might be to become an investor, it might be to just get a job, right?
Mm.
You always need a network. So we were able to give them this platform.
But in that part, when you say what you are offering, the promise there is the possibility of closing deals, right?
Yes, of course. I mean, when you're a student, maybe you don't even have a deal, but of course, for startups and venture capital firms and corporate that have venture debt, I think that the most important thing is that we made sure our audience
Mm.
was or either looking for investment or looking for a startup to invest in, right? So we
Okay.
didn't really have that much of vendors or regular ticket holders because, for us, quantity is not that important, it's quality.
Okay.
So we did work on several activities such as startup investor matchmaking. We curated it ourselves, and besides that, of course, we had the networking app, and we also collaborated with a professional coaching company called Wayback. They're from Barcelona, and what they do is they help you change from a startup founder to
Hmm.
a scale up
Okay.
leader. So basically, they work all these kind of challenges that you need to overcome to scale sustainably.
Yeah, interesting because yeah, one of the biggest problem for the startups or at least for the projects in order to scale is to understand who will lead and to whom you have to connect if you are looking for investment because you need to how can I say this? You need to show the investors that you are actually profitable businesses and that will be able to grow not only in your country but abroad, right?
Yes, I think that there are many things that you need to demonstrate to investors before they invest in you.
Yeah.
Besides what you mentioned, I think that what they value a lot is the team and the capabilities of the team to actually do what they promise.
Mm.
Right? So a strong team will always get there. Um, and you need to demonstrate how experienced you are, what kind of ventures you had before or you were part of connected to this industry, and what problem are you solving. It is not for the sake of creating just another startup. The trend of investing has changed over the past years. Before it was kind of easy, more like an American way of investing, that they were just investing in an idea. And I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
able to see this. I was back in the days working with a startup, and for us it was a challenge because we had an idea and a proof of concept, and we were not able to get the investment just because the trend was changing then. And
Mm.
it's difficult to adapt because um, the time is money. right? So
Yeah.
you need to be fast at adapting in this trend. And nowadays, the market is more mature. Investors take more time to evaluate the
Mm.
deal and to understand if this is going to be potential startup to
Yeah, yeah.
invest in. And
The
the same
burning
for,
money area is
yeah.
ending. Yeah.
Well, I mean, startups always need to look into the money they receive and how they use it,
Yeah.
but now more than ever.
Um, I would like to go back a little bit to the license thing. How long did it take you and your partner to be able to build everything in order to say, okay, in February 2025, we are going to have Bilbao Slash? How long did it take you, like everything, in order to be able to get to that point?
From the beginning of the inception of the idea, after
Yeah.
the paper was published, um, to the time that we actually got the license, it was 6 months.
Okay. So pretty
So
fast.
pretty fast, but because we had, it's the same as I explained before.
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah,
had
yeah,
already the organizational knowledge because I had the
yeah,
opportunity to be part of Slush,
yeah.
and we had the contacts as well.
Mhm.
And at the same time, we already kind of like pitched Bilbao Slush'd, which was inexistent, but we knew we will get there, you know?
Okay.
We were convinced of this. So we already had a grasp of the feeling of our potential customers in the ecosystem of Vizcaya. So we actually had some contacts with the institutions, with potential partners, with universities. So basically, for us, what worked was fake it until you make it. In
Yeah.
business, you need to do it for sure. In science, maybe not. But I mean, that's why I'm not in science. But because we were so passionate about it and so convinced,
Uh-huh.
we got there as well. So what is different here is that our team is very strong. We're really
Okay.
passionate about it. And when we got the license, we started to build everything.
Very nice.
Hmm.
And it was in last February that this Bilbao Slash happened. What are your thoughts about the first edition?
Hmm.
Are you happy about whatever happened? How many people attended to the event?
Mhm.
Tell us about that.
They even exceeded our expectations. Initially, what we pitched to, especially the sponsors, right, was that we will bring from 400 to 600 people for the
Uh-huh.
debut, for the first edition. We didn't want to go very, very big because it takes time, right, to grow sustainably. And also, the license allows you to have 1,000 attendees at most. So we managed to bring 850 attendees in total, and
Okay.
from 37 nationalities. Then from them, 200 investors and 150 startups.
Wow.
And I think that this is a very good number because we received a lot of feedback from both sides, and both of them explained that it was interesting. Yes, you actually show a very good part of the website where we showcase our delegations. So
Hmm.
we partner up with a Ukrainian delegation, with Malaga Tech from southern Spain. Then we
Uh-huh.
also partner with the Sigma Square Society in Spain. So Sigma Square Society is a community of the best performing startup founders in the world. And what they have in common is that they are super young, right? So youth entrepreneurship here. And we also had some startups from Bind. Bind is from the Basque Country, and what they do is they attract startups to the territory, and we were
Okay.
able to like be part of their program in the Basque Country after many sessions that they had to actually find corporate clients. They also were able to showcase their innovative solution at Bilbao Slash and get investment there as well. And we also
Nice.
collaborated with BATB Accelerator Tower, which is the entrepreneurship hub per excellence in Bilbao. And
Hmm.
we were really happy to collaborate with a couple of the startups they have, like Voza Labs or Odey.
Got it. Got it. And are you already thinking in the next version, 2026? Are you already working on that?
I think that you always see the future when you are a founder. However, we now need to concentrate on how to actually close the first edition. So
Okay.
basically, what our priorities are now is to assess and evaluate how the first edition has been. What is
Okay.
the impact for our customers, for our attendees? So
Hmm.
that's why we're collecting all kind of feedback, as I said before, quantitative and qualitative. And
Okay.
we are also collecting feedback by having a video calls with our sponsors, and the institutions is one of them.
Okay.
And then we also need to evaluate with Slush these results, and only then we will be able to negotiate a potential second edition. But it's not going to be this month, so of course we will love to have a second edition. However, I cannot say anything yet because it's not confirmed, but definitely an ecosystemic impact is not done in one day.
Hmm.
And of course, it might be a good idea to extend the license. So basically, the license we got is for 1 year, but it can be
Oh.
extended to 3 years. And after that, the
Oh.
idea will be to kind of like create your own brand
Hmm.
powered by Slush. Yeah.
Got it. Oh, so you actually you are required to achieve some certain milestones, right?
Yes, yes, yes. And this is actually excellent because otherwise you relax.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You are right. You need the pressure, so to speak.
Hmm.
When do you think you're gonna like finish this assessment about the first edition?
I think that it might be next month.
Nice, very nice. We'll like to know that when that kind can whatever were the results. Okay.
Perfect. We'll let you know.
um, Ladies and gentlemen, we are speaking with Elena Popovici. She's the co-director of Bilbao Slush'd, the first edition that Slush went to the Basque Country. She's also the co-founder of Bayloop Ventures, which is the company that brought actually the license and Bilbao Slush'd. Um, you are also watching or hearing, maybe I don't know, the a new episode of Seeds, which is the English language podcast by Entrepreneur Media. Elena, we were the first whole block of that we were speaking about Slashed, particularly Bilbao Slashed, but I would like to deep into the other side, onto Bayloop Ventures, which is the company that got you and your co-founder into bringing a Slash to Bilbao. You told us, to our audience, that everything started when you were studying in Finland and your co-founder was doing his thesis, and the thesis was focused on finding the similarities or the different things between the Nordic startup ecosystem and the Basque Country ecosystem. So from that point on, why did you create this Bayloop Ventures, and what do you do, and what do you are focused on?
Hmm. That's a good question. Bayloop Ventures is the venture studio that David and I founded with the mission of boosting the startup ecosystem in the Basque Country,
Okay.
especially, and connecting it with other key regions such as the Bay of Finland. Simply because, I mean, we are very much connected with the Nordics. We love the Nordics. We like how it works there. And also, Finland and Estonia are known for being the unicorn factory of
Mm-hmm.
Europe after Silicon Valley, right? So we believe in the power of community and in the importance of creating real opportunities for startups through events, investment, and mentorship. Bayloop not only aims to support local entrepreneurs, but also to attract investors and startups from around the world to strengthen the Spanish ecosystem. And being honest with you, Bilbao Slash has been the first project of this company, but
Okay.
hopefully it's not gonna stop there. Of course, our bigger mission is to become a venture capital firm in the future. Of course, it takes time and you need a lot of consideration and then acquisition, among many other stages in the customer journey. but we definitely got the consideration through Bilbao Slush'd because
Hmm.
ultimately this is what we have been working on, right?
Yeah.
And since we have been collaborating with delegations, there have been some conversations to attract other delegations for the second edition, if it's going to happen, from
Hmm.
Poland, for example. So, what helped us a lot is that through the brand of Slash, people got to know us and got to know the ecosystem of Vizcaya and the advantages it has to actually establish your commercial office there. For example, Bilbao, Vizcaya is a very good LATAM corridor, right?
Yeah.
So it has many opportunities, not only in terms of fiscal help, but also because it can help you to get to this other continent. So it might be an interesting point to review, to assess. And
Okay, like
actually,
you say, like Bilbao can be like the point of entrance from Latin America to Europe, right?
and the other way around.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And okay, yeah, yeah. I remember like in 2022, maybe no, 2023, I think it was. Like Bilbao Vizcaya have a mission that went to Colombia, Uruguay, and Chile
Mm-hmm.
in order to search for startups and investors that were willing to go to the Basque Country in order to know more about the ecosystem and to understand what they can accomplish together. I think it was at that time. But it's a very powerful thing to be like the port of entrance. And in that sort of way, um, connecting or helping to scale the startup ecosystem from the Basque Country to the Nordics, which are the industries that you see that can work together in this alliance, so to speak?
What I say is that both ecosystem are really strong in health tech, for example,
Okay.
clean tech, and deep tech. We received a lot of startups in deep tech, and during our research phase, we visited ESPO, Business ESPO,
Mhm.
and they explained that they are top in deep tech. So I think that there are many possibilities to connect and to learn and to find synergies between both regions. We also had, for example, in Bilbao Slash, other industries such as AI, SaaS, um, and also FinTech and InsurTech. But I would actually highlight that clean tech, health tech, and deep tech are the ones that are in common and that can
Okay.
mutually benefit.
Yeah, yeah. Because what I have seen living in Finland for the past 18 months is that here in the Nordics, apparently they are very good and very strong. Like they have very solid platforms related to everything in the fintech ecosystem, but they are searching for new opportunities and new solutions, especially in the health care
Mm.
like environment, and they are also starting to try to advance forward. Maybe I don't know if I'm saying correctly
Mhm.
in the logistic world because they are like trying to thrive on that. And I believe that from the logistic point of view, I think Spain, especially the Basque Country, are very far more developed, right?
Yes, and actually, we had our pitch competition, and one of the finalists is from the logistics. So we definitely have this, strong skills in logistics. However, this was not our focus,
Mhm.
um, because we kind of like put our focus on other industries. But what you're mentioning about fintech, I feel that on your day to day as a citizen in Finland,
Mhm.
fintech is well perceived, and like you can see how well it is developed, and how easy your life is because of this.
Yeah.
However, I will say that Estonia is the strong one here in fintech. Yes, and you know what I will highlight is that, for example, no, Finland has excelled at being a traditional bank such as Nordea and
Uh-huh.
having very good fintech solutions that are developed for the people. And even if they are traditional, they are still innovative.
Yeah.
This I don't see in Spain. I
Mm.
won't say names, but the traditional banks here suck at them. Yeah, I think that for me, when I was living in Finland, what was mind blowing is that you were
Mm.
able to do everything with your code, right?
Yeah.
Your Nordea code or any other bank, of course, that had this code. So when you come back home, as I
Mm.
had to here in Spain, I was not able to adapt again.
Do you think that is an area, an industry that should be like on the top list of priorities in order to bring solution from the Nordics to the Basque Country and from the Basque Country to Latin America, like putting fintech like on top of mind?
I think that in theory it might be beautiful, but in practice, any kind of startup that should bring this innovative solution
Uh-huh.
needs to deal with the mindset of these big corporates and
Okay.
with their processes, which are very long and bureaucratic. So I do not think this should be a key priority for a startup because it
Mm.
might be the process might be so long that you're already dead, you're already crashed.
Yeah.
So it might be a good idea to start with a little bit smaller key player that could give you the opportunity to have a good contract with them,
Mm.
provide this innovative solution, pivot until you get there, and you provide like the best of the best solution to them, and also can make money because you need to have revenue. You need
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
to either if you are bootstrapped, you need to make revenue, or if you need to get investment is the same.
Yeah. Totally. Totally. Again, going back to the Bayloop Ventures stuff, which are your next steps? Are you gonna still going forward, like focus on Bilbao Slush'd, or are you also developing another programs, another endeavors that you might start working on soon?
So if we continue with Slash, definitely it will be another full-time project. And what I will say is that we should start with the ideation of how to create this venture capital firm that
Oh,
we have been thinking of even before Bilbao Slashed. Because we want to bring not only international startups and investors, but we also want to give capital, and we also want to help founders to go through this journey.
hmm,
This will be something that we should review. However, I cannot guarantee when it's going to happen and how because it takes time. But yeah, definitely is in our radar.
very nice. And this venture capital you speak, this idea, to whom will be focusing on a startup and a starting level, or maybe focus on the ones that are already scaling from one country to another one?
It will be for pre-seed and for
Okay.
the industries that we are already working with.
Okay.
HealthTech, CleanTech, FinTech, InsurTech, AI.
Hmm.
I'd say that first, when you are new to the venture capital world, you want to test and see what works and what doesn't. And then, with this hypothesis and some proof of concept, then you scale what worked and you delete what didn't and then document, right? So I
Yeah.
will say that the first step will be that. And then, with a second fund, we'll be able to focus on more seed stages and with a bigger fund as well.
Yeah. When you say you will be focusing on pre-seed, we are talking about like 3,000 uh 300,000 euros in investment per each
Well,
startup, maybe.
the thing is that everything that I'm explaining right now is potentially. We do
I
not
know, I
have
know, I know.
an investment thesis. So yeah, definitely the tickets can go from 150 to 250,000
Okay,
euro.
okay,
Yeah.
that's the gap. Okay, yeah, yeah. It's just I have to ask because there are a lot of founders and there are a lot of projects that are seeking for investment and
Hmm.
knowing that most probably in the near future they may be have an opportunity to speak with another fund that is like trying to work with them is something very important. I don't want to get you in trouble, but that's why I asked about
No.
the ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I hope I'm not gonna receive messages now. Hey, this is my pitch deck. Can you please
No, no, no.
review it? Yes, I can review, but I don't have the money. So
Yeah, yeah. But that's also a very important thing, right? To be able to see like the business plans of several startups in order to be able to speak with the founders to understand what they are looking and maybe like connecting that information with the idea that you have to start a venture capital and everything then may be connected in the future, right?
yes, of course. And you know what many investors do is that they share their anti-portfolio. This is how it's
Oh.
called. It is maybe startup that they had the opportunity to meet, but they are not able to invest in them just because
Mm,
it's not part of their investment thesis. So that's why, for example, at Bilbao Slush'd, we focused on also creating parallel dynamic. We had
okay.
6 satellite events besides Bilbao Slush'd during those days, and one of them was the investors female launch.
Okay.
We created for 2 reasons. We wanted to attract more female investors just because it's never enough for female, it's never enough for investors, or it's never enough of female speakers. So this was one of the reasons, and the other one was because they were able to actually sit together and talk about how they are investing actively and
Mm,
what kind of potential startups there were for other peers in the table. So we had 24 female investors, and this was one of the best activity outside the main event because it was for a smaller group and it was more focused,
mm,
and they were very international. We had women from Ukraine, we had women from Mexico, from Cometa VC. I don't know if you know it, but it's a very, very strong one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we had also investors from the Basque Country, from Spain. You need to understand that not many international investors go to Bilbao, Vizcaya often.
Mm,
Usually, the events that are celebrated there are more regional or maybe like national. So,
mm,
bringing different profiles, we also had women from Belgium, for example, was an opportunity for this kind of customers.
yeah. And looking that, like, are there really fewer female investors, or is a matter of visibility?
There are fewer in general, but at the same time, this is something that I was actually discussing with a female investor yesterday. The problem or the barrier is the one that we as women create to ourselves. We were
Okay.
not actually blaming men for this. We were explaining that this barrier is created for us in our minds from childhood. So I think that what can be done to actually have more female investors, female speakers, female roles in leadership, right, would be education.
Okay.
Girls from when they are children need to understand that they can do anything they want anytime.
Yeah.
They can be moms, they can be spouses, but they can be also CEOs. They can also be VC investors. Whatever they want, they can do it, they can achieve it. And this is something that I learned in Finland
Yeah.
because there
Yeah.
is equality and you can actually perceive it in the air. Everyone is given the same opportunity. Maybe here it's not about corporate world or VC world because you go too far in your life. We need to start to create opportunities for these girls from the beginning. And once they have this mindset, they will be able to achieve what they want. So I think that it is a very complex matter, and men are not to blame here. It's not about men. It is about
Yeah, we are not talking about like
no,
the
no, no.
sex gender fight. No, it's something else.
Exactly. It is more about the society itself
Yeah.
and the
And
education.
and considering that, are you going to take this issue as a key focus? I'm thinking on validate and give visibility to female investors, maybe like in a parallel way as Bilbao Slush'd.
Mm, we haven't really wanted to put this problem on the map because
Okay.
we have other like bottlenecks to be working with, but we um, just work these bottlenecks
Hmm.
while we work the other bottlenecks. So basically, we did want to invite as many women as possible, and we wanted to include also many women in all the activities that we created. But we are not going to talk about female entrepreneurship or female investment because before being females, we are people. We are entrepreneurs. We are investors. So there is
Okay.
no really point of focusing in this matter as such.
I understand. I understand.
Mhm.
So we are starting the final part of this interview. Is there any final words you would like to share with the audience? Maybe website, social media, or where people can find and connect with you?
Yes, of course. So before we finish this interview, I will say that the highlights of our event was receiving a lot of international key investors, ecosystem players, and founders, such as
Hmm.
Peter Westerbacka. We had him collaborating in some activities, in panels and discussions. He is the founder of Slash and creator of Angry Birds. And
Yeah.
we also had Agur Jogi, the CTO of Pipedrive from Estonia, which you had also the opportunity to interview.
Yeah, very nice.
Um, yeah, I mean, he was the only unicorn we had in our first event in Spain. So it's very nice to understand how they actually achieved this status of unicorn and
Mm.
what we can learn from them. And we also had Fiona Garvey, which is the CEO of Softonic, who were able to learn on how and what strategies she created to actually scale this company. And we are really proud of the results we achieved. I can proudly say that we have been one of the best performing slashed spin-offs out there,
Hmm.
and it was all due to the passion and also the research we've done together and the collaboration with Slash. It was key to our success because we have been mentored by them and they have provided a lot of organizational knowledge that of course they already collected for more than 15 years that they are in the ecosystem, right? And where they can find me, so you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Elena Popovici, or you can also write an email to info@bilbao/.com.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that our goal is to keep growing and making Slashed impact on Bilbao and the startup ecosystem even bigger.
I have a last question because I was hearing you very carefully. Just to clarify, beyond the analysis and the results you're going to be achieving or understanding in the next month, if it were up to you, will there be a second edition of the Bilbao Slashed?
Yes, if it was up to me, yes, especially because I believe that an ecosystemic impact cannot be achieved with one day of
Mm.
event, right? So we need more time and more perseverance to get better results. And yeah, I would love to celebrate a second edition and a third one.
Elena Popovici, co-director of Bilbao Slush'd and co-founder of Bayloop Ventures. Thank you so much for this interview.
It was a pleasure. Thank you, Rob.
Take care a lot. See you soon, and let's hope for another version.
Okay, perfect. See you.
Bye bye.
Bye.